Hi friends, we're back with part 2 of this Trapper Keeper journal. So excited to hear some of you are actually going to be using this tutorial. I hope you guys get through it. So part 2, Trapper Keeper. Today we are going to finish off the decorating of the cover. We're going to add in the mechanisms. We have the mechanism in the back for the clip. We also have the mechanism down the middle to hold the folders. I'll show you how I make the folders. I'll show you how we put on the Velcro. Yeah, I think we can get this started. So let's go over some tools. So since we're finishing the cover today, right? So what we need is definitely your decorative paper. Now this is all personal. How you decide to cover your books, that's up to you. What I do recommend, because we are layering, right? You know, I like to put in a decorative sheet. And then sometimes I like to even cover the decorative sheet, right? So, like, here's an example. I've been making all different sizes. Here's a smaller version. So, what we had here is I put the blues and the yellows, the decorative bottoms, right? And then this one, I just cut out some really fun pictures and did that on top. So what you layer on this is up to you. If you want to keep it plain, keep it plain. This one has been decorated, and I don't think I'm going to add anything more. So this is just one sheet of decoration on everything, right? Now this is a smaller Trapper Keeper. I am making a few different sizes. I just couldn't help myself, you know, why not? So here's the one we're making, right? This is that 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. This is a 4 by 6. And again, this is just decorative paper on each panel. I don't think I'm going to add more. This is decorative paper on each panel, and then I added more, right? So I added a little bit more zhuzh to it. So let's do this one here. I have pre-cut out the majority of my panels, but I wanted to show you kind of like how I do it, because like I said, if you want to be technical, go find the Sandy Trefker tutorial. She's very technical. We're measuring everything ahead of time. We're cutting, we're scoring everything ahead of time. Not me, guys. Can't operate. My brain is can't do that. So what I do, and I'm going to show you real quick what I do with this. I've cut out all my panels but the flaps. I'm going to show you how I do my flap. And I'm sorry if I disappoint y'all in like how I do my stuff, because it's so bad. It's so bad. All right, so you know what I want is to cut a panel that's going to cover my flat portion. And when I do my panels, I like to do it where you're just a little bit is still showing of the background, right? I like to have kind of that layered look. So in this case, I have my blue, and then I had my background, and then I put on my cover, right? So again, this is a preference. Just on, I'm knocking everything over. Just on how you would like to do your books. So in this case, I'm not measuring anything, y'all. Not in the sense with a ruler and everything. So I'm going to find my front. I'm going to line it up here. Right? I'm just trying to find the length here of what I need. See that? And then I just do this. I fold it over on the edge. And it gives me the line of basically where I need to cut. Now because it's folded over on the edge, it's a little bigger than what I actually need. So what I'm going to do is just cut slightly to the left of that line. And then I'm going to check to make sure it fits. So in this case, it's slightly a little bigger than I want it. I'm going to literally cut away a sliver. I'm sorry if this disappoints y'all, but this is just how I do things. I just can't I don't know why I can't pull out a ruler. Alright, so then I've got my length. Looks good. I'm happy with my length. What I'm going to do now is literally come in here on the other side. Find where my bend is. And fold over. Makes a little impression of where I need to cut. And then again, I just cut to the left of it just slightly because I know that I'm going to make up for that bend, that 1/8 of an inch or something there. And then I just come back and I check it. In this case, looks like it needs a little sliver cut off, so I cut a little sliver off. I'm so embarrassed that this is my how I do things. Checking in again. This one's perfect. Alright, so happy with that. And so I need 2 of these, right? Because we're doing one side of the flap and the other side of the flap. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trace this on another piece of paper. I'm not measuring anything. Heck no. And when you go ahead and you're cutting away your papers, you know, save your scraps because those are the things that you can use for pocket folders, decoration, this stuff right here where you're just literally cutting your panels out. Like these little scraps are perfect. So I just measured, I traced my line. This is like making it stupid easy, y'all. I'm not bringing out rulers and I'm so not technical. I just get so, I don't know if it's boring. I don't know if I'm just, my ADD kicks in. I don't know, y'all. Alright, so now I got my 2 flat panels. Didn't use a ruler. Just kind of like you saw. Alright, so I'm just going to make sure everything lines up good. And this is a rounded edge, right? So we're going to have to cut out with our puncher today. Ooh, I never did a supply list. It's pretty much the same stuff I did in the first video, y'all. Just bring all that stuff back out. Alright, taking my round corner. It's going to match that there. So I'm just punching out one side here and on the bottom on the same side. Alright, and then what that's going to do is make sure we have the rounded edges lined up there. Okay? So I hope that made sense. What I was doing is literally cutting out all the panels that I'm needing to glue onto this board. Alright, and then literally going in with your fabric tack. Nothing simple here. I did, again, it's a preference for you guys. You know, I cut out my panels and then I rounded my edges. And it's just a preference for like what you know, if that's something you want to do. Alright, so my front cover I think I'm going to stick. I'm going to do the pink. Maybe I'll do the green. I'm going to do the green on this one. Living on the wild side, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to do all the panels with you right now or just show you the idea so we can move this forward, this tutorial. Just going in again. Don't go all the way to the edge because when you burr down, burnish, someone told me, Kathy Williams, thank you for telling me the word burnish. When you're burnishing with your bone burnisher, which I actually don't even have on my table, you don't want all that glue seeping out on the edges, so don't go to all the way to the edge. And then you want to come in and burnish. If you got a burnishing tool, use your burnishing tool. Mine is around here somewhere. I think I'm going to grab it. It's on the floor. No, it's not on the floor. It's right here. In my tool. Burnishing tool. Alright, so also like I have a pattern piece. It looks like there's a top and the bottom. Make sure that when you're putting this together that your flap is on the right hand side. That's how you open. And that your pieces of paper are matching the same direction. Okay? One down. I think on the inside I'm going to do that pink as well. And I like to do different panels on each of mine. Again, preference, you know, how you want to do it, what you want to do is totally a preference. Just going in with all of my different panels. Guess I am going to do it with y'all on camera, huh? I'm so excited that some of y'all are going to be making these. I think these are satisfying. They're just so cute and kitschy. Oh my god. Granted, I have yet to use mine. I've just been making them. I now could make these in my sleep, I think. I have now memorized the routine. And that's why I started making some small ones. I was like, oh my god. I also had some small mechanisms that I bought that didn't fit. And I was like, well, I gotta use these mechanisms. So that was going to be fun. Inside, front, let's do the back. So we're going to be covering the seam. So I wanted to talk about the seam. In the first tutorial, I didn't really like put a lot of emphasis on it, but I wanted to make sure that when you guys go to lay down your panels onto your paper after you've combined them with that 1/4 inch double-sided tape, you really want to make sure, I believe that the small end, the smaller paper, that 10 1/4 by 9, is on your right-hand side. You want to make sure when you line up those papers and you're putting down your chipboard on top that you're covering the seam with one of the full 6x8 boards. You see this? Otherwise, you don't want this seam to end up on a corner, right? That's not going to work. So when you're laying your stuff down, be really mindful that you're laying it down correctly and that you're laying over the seam with one of your 6x8 boards. I don't know if that sounded like in my mind that made sense. I don't know if that makes sense when I say it out loud to you guys. So again, leave a comment, do a like, subscribe, whatever, reach out if you have a question regarding that. But all right, so right now what we have, front, back, inside. So I've got my seams, my spines and my flaps left. I haven't snipped my ends on these. In Camelot. I opened this fabric tack when I made the first tutorial with y'all. And now it's almost done. I've almost gone through it all. Outside, let's do the spine here. Always measure it, make sure it's fitting good before you permanently glue it down. These type of journals, it's like if you start ripping up off the original paper, you know, you run the risk of ruining the whole thing and having to start all over. So just, I think with these type of journals, you got to be a little more mindful of each step and each process and each cut and each glue, because we made it from scratch. There's points of no return. Right, we're getting there. Look at this. So cute. So stinking cute. Look at this. Alright, we just got the panels. We're gonna do the pink, on the front to match the spine. This is like an 80-pound cardstock, just so y'all know. This isn't, you know, I think when I did my clown one, that the top paper was very thin, but the the decorative paper was thin, like the people I put on, but the actual cardstock itself was a strong cardstock. Alright, I got the inside panel left, and then I'm done with the decorative edges of this book. We are then if I didn't print this out, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to add this later, but I meant to print out my strawberry shortcake, the last piece for my cover. I didn't do that, so sadly I'm gonna have to finish. I'm going to show you how to finish something with a different book. When we get there, I'll show you. Alright, guys. Look at that. Is that on properly? It is. We now have every panel covered with some decorative paper and cardstock. How you do this is up to you, y'all. You don't have to do a different panel on each one. You can be a little more conformed, like this one. This is all the same, right? I may actually add something on the back to this one to cover that seam, but you don't have to keep layering. I recommend at least one panel. This one is one I did. It's all red. I haven't done the inside yet. Right, so this is that bottom layer, and I'm debating what I want to do to the front, if I want to add another panel of something. So again, what you do at this point when it comes to decorating the book, it's up to you. And it's hard, right? Like, what do you want to do? Like, you know, do you want to theme it? Like, I love this clown one so stinking much. This was so cute. And look, even this, remember, I think in the original I said don't cover the spine. This is a thin enough paper that I added it to the spine. Look at it, it's so freaking cute. And that's that rounded curved spine in there. Oh my god. So it's endless what you can do and how you decorate these things. Alright, let's get into a mechanism. For this round, you will need, for the mechanism, we are going to need that hole puncher, guys. Okay? We're going to need a little extra paper or cardstock or something to put between the book and this mechanism, right? But yeah, I think for this one, make sure that you have your mechanism. Keep your little mechanism pieces close by. We're going to be using those to the screws. We'll need a pencil. And again, that hole punch, I think, is what's most important. Alright, so let's find our mechanism. Mechanism 1. Okay, this is our spine piece. This is going to go down the middle. And this is the one that I found that fit the most, the best. Now, when you put it in, guys, you are going to have this little bit that hangs over. That's just because I can't find them smaller for this. Just a fault of the book, I guess. Or what you could do is maybe make this a ½ inch even bigger if it bothers you that that's hanging out. It doesn't bother me. Let me show you. So like in this one, you can see that they do hang out just slightly. It doesn't bother me though. If that's something that bothers you, you're going to have to make this slightly bigger. But in the meantime, let's put this down. So you want to line it up in the middle. Get your pencil. Why we have to make a little bit of a cushion is because this board is so thin that when you put these screws together, it's a bit of a gap still. So we're just making it extra tight in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of chipboard. You could do this with cardstock too, literally. What I'm doing is just making sure it's the same length. And then I'm going to fold that over. See, we're just making some cushioning here. And I'm going to fold it over one more time. get that burnishing tool out. You want to really flatten this. Thank you, Catherine Williams, for reminding me of that. I think it was Kathy Williams. Told me how to say that correctly. I'm just going to cut away the extra here. See this? And we're going to make it so it hides behind this. And you really want to make sure that it does hide. You don't want to see this in the book. So if it's too wide, cut stuff down. We're screwing this in, so you don't want to see this. And once it's screwed in, you're not going to see it. Or it's not going to move or anything, right? So I just cut this apart. So right now it looks like I have at least 3 pieces kind of stacked. 1, 2, I'm going to put that in the middle there maybe. Maybe not. Stacked together. And then, see? Can't see it, but it's giving us that oomph. I'm going to actually cut the ends just the littlest bit. I don't want it overhanging. See that? Doesn't need to be pretty. I just don't want it showing when I put it down in the book. And then I'm just going to do a quick glue. They're going to glue together because I cut them apart by accident. Again, nothing pretty. We're just connecting them together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my mechanism on top of it. Take my pencil, make a mark where the holes are. Dot, dot, hole punch. In the middle of your hole punch, that dot should be in the middle. Hole punch it out. It's gonna match, okay? Super easy. We're going to do the same thing for the back clip mechanism. All right? It's the same process. Where's my book and what am I working on? Here's my book. So now what we're going to do is bring this back over and we're going to make our holes in this. We're going to find our middle. Make sure we're in the right space, make sure everything fits, we're lined up well. Mark it with your pencil. Okay, I've got a mark here and I've got a mark here. Hole punch. Put that dot in the middle. Make a hole punch. One hole, 2 holes. And again, depending on what mechanism you have, how many holes you need to make, that's what it is. Okay? So I'm going to just line up. I'm going to just now make sure everything fits. I'm not permanently putting anything in. I'm just making sure everything fits, lines up, looks good. I'm going to get my screw bottom and put that down first. And I just want to make sure I have enough cardboard that it's getting that oomph. If it doesn't feel like it's getting it's catching everything and or it still feels loose, add in another layer of either cardstock or chipboard, whatever you're using to make that middle piece. Add another layer in. That's all we got to do. Something's not adding up here, folks. What's going on? Little finessing here. Okay. 2 pieces are in. I hope you can see that. laying that on top. Now this is on top of that. I'm not sure. I feel like I might want to add one more in, guys. Maybe I'll do it with a thin piece of paper. So all I'm doing, I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half to make another layer to add in here. Just thickening it up. Really don't want this spine mechanism moving at all. This is my trial and error. This was not a tutorial that anybody else did. This is just my process. If y'all have a better idea on how to do this, let me know. Because this is just what I came up with. I'm going to repunch a hole back in since I added some more oomph in there. Making a hole again into it. Okay, let's lay this one back down again and see where we're at. Got my mechanism bottom pieces in there. You can see that one and two. Laying this piece on top. Laying the mechanism on top of that. And just seeing how that feels. It feels better. Maybe almost too much. Alright. I'm going to take out the one. Maybe it was just good with what I had. Okay, so what I have now is the top screw. I'm going to put that in. You should also have a screwdriver with y'all today. This is a flathead screwdriver. Just make sure whatever screwdriver you have matches. Alright, so the three, that felt good. Like I'm getting in here and it's catching. If it just keeps spinning, it means you don't have enough oomph in there to catch it. Okay, so in the end, I'm not seeing the cardboard. It's not hanging out anywhere. The mechanisms are in. They caught onto it. It feels good. It's not going anywhere. So that's how I attach my mechanism, folks. Okay. And once you put your folders and stuff in there, like, even if you do see, whoops, dropping stuff, the edge or anything, you can see this cardboard a little bit. This is the first time I did chipboard. Usually I do paper. But I think once I put my cardboard in there, I'm not going to see that. Or if you really feel like that's a problem for you, you could probably even cover it with either some paper or some brick rack on the end there or something. All right, so there is our mechanism in. So now we're going to go and we're going to make the mechanism clip for the back. And this is the same exact process. What I have here is a piece of paper. I folded it over, you know, matched up the holes, punched it out. And what I'm doing is giving me that base to screw into. Now I know I don't have enough. This isn't enough, this one little piece. So I'm going to start adding more. And I think I want to add some chipboard because this one seemed a little thicker even. Where did my chipboard go, y'all? Chipboard. So all I'm doing is lining it up, cutting it away. See? And I think I'm going to do 2 of those. All right, cut out those holes. They're gonna match. All right. And then what I'm gonna do is come over here onto my board, my book. I'm gonna line up where I want that to go, and I'm gonna mark the little holes with a pencil, and we're going to take our hole puncher and punch out holes. Okay. Made my holes, grab my hole puncher. Love is free. No, I ain't got no gold. Gonna put this piece on up. Let's find our screws. I like to put the base on first, and then like layer everything on top to make it fit, right? So right now we're gonna, hopefully it fits well. All right, got my bottom pieces in. Now let's see if everything matches well. Put in my buffer piece. Just needs a bit of a... All right, buffer piece in. Let's put in the top piece. See if we have enough there. Let's put in our screw on top. This took me so long last time, y'all. This one, I don't know if it's just the, this is a magnetic screwdriver too. Technical stuff, not my favorite. I feel like I'm... Come on, girl, we got this. We can get this. Clumsy fingers, little holes. I dare y'all to make fun of me right now. Wait till you're in this step. This is ridiculous. I have the hardest... I think it's this magnetic screw thingy. Stop magnetizing. You're pulling it up every time. Oh my God, y'all. This is not even funny. This is embarrassing now. If I have to stop this video at this point. Oh my God. Now I feel I got like Parkinson's and I'm like just shaking now. Too much coffee. Or maybe I had Parkinson's. Okay. Oh my God. We made connection, y'all. We made connection, y'all. If this doesn't fit, I'm gonna be so mad that I'm gonna have to undo it and add in some more. And honestly, y'all, I think I should add in more after all that. I don't know. Let's see. You really want it to be tight, especially on this clip. The amount of opening and closing and maneuvering you're gonna be doing, like you want this to be really secure in there. So if it's not, make sure you go back and add more paper or buffering between to make sure you get that good grab. I really... It's not even funny at this point. Like if it's still spinning and not stopping, then you don't have enough in there. That was the most frustrating part of this whole frickin' thing. Okay, so what do we have? We did it, y'all. Like, it's here. If you made it to this point, you made yourself a trapper keeper. I mean, at this point, it's just decorating it. Oh my god. All right, we made it. So what we have now, and what I do next, is usually what I'm going to do is add in two of my 4x6 photo pockets. Get them online. Literally just Google self-adhesive 4x6 photo pockets. Pop up. Hit me up. I can send you a link. I don't know if I can link yet on YouTube. You have to have like a certain amount of watches to be able to do stuff like that. So anyways, pockets go here if that's what you want to do. And then what I've done on other one is I've made folders, and I'm going to show you my folders and my process for that. So here's a folder that I've made. Okay. I laminate them. And this one I folded up. And my strawberry shortcake one, I did them a little differently. And I made pockets on the side that I cut out and glued. And they do kind of look like the original Trapper Keeper that came on the side. At this point, I was getting like how much paper. So in this case, what I did is I just folded the paper up and over, and I felt like I was better usage of the paper. I wasn't wasting any. So let me just make one with you real quick, and then I'll show you what I did. All right. So let's grab a piece of paper. Super easy, guys. Ladies, gents, gals. 12 by 12 paper. We're in a 6 by 8 book. So if you fold it in half, we're right at 6 inches. Right? So let's fold that in half. My cat's in the hallway playing with beads. He gets so mad when I shut him out of here. He wants to come in all the time. His name is Bootsy Carl Collins. Hi, Bootsy Carl Collins. Okay. So this is just my 12 by 12 folded in half. What I like to do is come in. Here's the same size book. Y'all know I don't like to measure. So what I do is I just fold it over. That's where I know. When I open it up, I'm going to fold up to that line that we just made with that bend in the book. See that? So it was like this. I measured it with my book and folded it over. It let me know. Folded that part up. Now we have a folder. What am I going to do with this? Let's do a few things with this. Let's first make sure that it's burnished. I like to round my edges. And then I like to cut the middle a little bit. Alright, so what I do with that is I open it back up, and I'm going to make a triangle cut like this from like here to the corner, and that just gives me this little bit of a cut out that, so when I open it and bring it up, it has this V in between. Okay? That's going to help us when we go to cut this open. So, now, you could just leave your folders like this, folks. You don't need to laminate. You really don't. You could just be a regular paper folder. It saves you, if you don't have a laminator, from getting a laminator. It also, this will not laminate on regular 8 by 11.5 laminate paper. It's too big. So you either have to cut it down and make this a smaller folder, which is fine, it'll work, or you're going to have to buy bigger laminating sheets, which is what I did. So what I bought was, I think they're 8.5, they might even be bigger. They might be like 11 by 17, really long ones. And what I did is I put my folder in, and then I cut away the extra that's unnecessary, because an 11 won't fit through a normal home version of a laminator. It's only like 8.5 inches or 9 inches. So you're going to have to cut that big laminating down around to what you need. And then you don't have to make a smaller folder. That's just a whole lot of extra, folks. So again, that's just my process. I'm just telling you what I did in order to get my folder laminated. Either make it smaller, so it fits in a regular laminating sheet, which is like 8.5 by 11 or whatever it is. Buy bigger laminate sheets and cut away the excess you don't need, and then you can laminate. So this is a 3 milliliter laminate. I put it through, I always have laminate, I put everything through twice. It's just like a paranoia. I'm going to cut away the extra that I don't need with my cutter. Carefully not to split that lamination line. Learned that one the hard way. Again, just cutting away the extra laminate I don't need. All right. I like to round my edges. I think my rounder here is dying. So, like, for instance, it didn't cut that. So, even if it doesn't cut it, just make the impression and cut the rest of the way with scissors. I have to get a new one. I think I've used this on too many non-paper products, because now it's getting caught and not giving me the cuts. So, I'll just take my scissors and round those edges. Oh, it's so frustrating. Cut properly. Did a little bit. All right, and so because this is pre-folded, right? I folded it before I put it in the laminator. You can kind of see the fold line. It's going to fold perfectly right on that line. See that? And now you definitely want to burnish this, right? You get your scorer and really flatten that fold line. Now to cut away. So what you're left with, especially when you do one of these down the middle, is that you want to find, I need my tool. Man, I thought I had all my stuff next to me today. I did not. Razor blade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out around, and you can see when you laminate, there's always that little bit of space, right? This is you just got to be careful, because you don't want to cut through everything. All I'm trying to do is cut open this pocket. So I'm literally getting in between the pocket that I made and folded in that line. And I'm just trying to get in there. And then if I lift it up just a little bit, I can run my blade down, and I can run my blade around the side, and it opens my pocket up. And just go slow. Can you fuck this? I didn't mean to curse y'all. Can you mess this up? You absolutely can. I think also the longer the blade. All right, so look. I was able to cut it away. And this is just a technique for these types of folders. If you wanted to laminate, this is a step that is entirely extra. You don't have to do this. And if y'all have a better process for this, please hit me up. Tell me, because this is just some stuff I'm making up over here. Okay. So then I made pockets. I just cut them away. Okay, so that's that. Now the only other thing with this is when we go, now I make 2 folders and I like to make a jump off page. A jump off page is not a folder, it's just a double-sided and 1 piece of laminate. I like to add it in. You can then attach things to it. You can attach a pen holder to it, anything. It's just like an extra added page that I just put in. So when you open it, you should have whatever you want. I put 2 folders in a jump off page. Oops, I'm upside down. 2 folders in a jump off page, and then I like to add in extra papers. Now I've made a template for my holes. This is important to make sure when you go to do your hole punching that you have this template. This was, I don't know how I made this, y'all. Again, so screw a measurement. I open up my thing here and I literally shut it on a piece of paper. And it gives me the lines that I need, or the holes that I need, where I need it. And then I can measure that, I can trace that onto my folders, right? So here's my template that I made. I'm going to line it up on my book here, make sure that where I have it lined up is also matching with my folder, and where my folder needs to be in here. So this is what I'm doing. Here's my template. And then I'm going to line up my folder in here to make sure that A, it's matching top and bottom, and then where I need to lay it on here for my hole punch. I hope all this makes sense, y'all. I know that to me it makes sense, but I don't know if that necessarily makes sense for y'all. And then when you have your crocodile, right, make sure too that you set your depth gauge. So when you go to make your hole, you're making it the same distance from the spine. You know, if you don't set the gauge, each hole could be at a different depth because you haven't lined it up with your gauge. And it just takes this, you don't have to think. You just put it right up to the gauge and you know where you're going. Measure twice, cut once. You don't want to get to this point and then screw it up because we didn't do that. Just making sure my gauge is hitting right. This would be probably a good time too to just maybe clip your book, your template to your book so nothing's moving. Like me. Don't. I found the world is searching for you. And if it feels a little tight, like it feels tight right now, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just going to make the holes just a little bit bigger. That means just making my hole punch come to the left a little bit or to the right of the holes that I made. And just making it just a tad bit bigger. Gives it a little more flexibility when it's moving in the book. So just made the holes a little bit bigger by punching right next to them. And then it feels like it moves a little better in there. And again, you just play around with it. All right. Looks like my top might be a little bigger. So. And then we can do the same thing. We can add in papers now. I have a bunch of... This is an A5 size, I think. A5. I think so. That's what they call it. And then I'm just going to add up that template right on there. Make sure everything fits. Coming in with the hole punch. I'll do it on the edge a little bit more. I do think a clip would work perfectly for this. I just don't have one next to me, so I'm winging it. Winging it. But again, the more precise you are with stuff like this, the better your product's going to be in the end. Put some papers on the end, but they're a little long because we put in a mechanism. So we're going to just cut off some paper on the end. Do I care about measuring? I do not. Going to round those edges because I like the rounded edge look. So you can see the, the folders inside. I think the last step is adding that Velcro piece in. So now that you're going to do the Velcro piece, make it something that when you do it, you walk away and let it sit for 20 minutes or so to dry, because it will move and then it'll mess it up and you've done all this work to screw it up. Learn from experience, what I did on my first one. Okay. So I didn't actually do my front decorative piece yet, so I'm not going to add the Velcro to this. Let's do a different book and then I'll Velcro that and I'll show you how to do it. So this one is done as far as the cover. So now I can add a piece of Velcro on to cover it up. Velcro time. This is self-adhesive. You don't need it because we're going to glue this down anyways. But let's cut a piece away. I want the fuzzy side of the Velcro on the front of the book. So take them apart. This is good to take them apart now anyways, because that first take apart's really hard. And if it's attached to the book, you could do damage. So take it apart now. Find the fuzzy side, and that's going to go on your book. We're not putting it there, just showing you that's where the fuzzy side's going to go. I might actually move mine up because I don't want it to necessarily cover my guy, so I might move it up a little higher. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them back together. I'm not squeezing super tight. I'm just making sure that they're matching. Lining up where I want it to be. And I don't want it right on the edge, because the closer it is to this edge, the more you're going to see it, right? So I kind of just want to keep a little, like a 1/4 of an inch right here between this and the Velcro and the edge. All right, so I'm going to take off the side to the crustier side, the hard side. I'm going to take the backing off of that. If you don't have backing and it's self-adhesive, I mean it's a sew-on, just add your glue. I'm adding glue to the very middle, not the ends because it's got the adhesive, but just the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, a 1/4 inch. I don't want it so I can see it, and I'm just laying it down. Okay? And this one, once you close the book and you put that seal on, you're not going to be able to see it until you open it. So just have some blind faith. So what I'm doing then is peeling off the sticky side to that fuzzy side. I'm leaving it there. I'm going to add a little bit of fabric tack in the middle. And then I'm going to close my book with it. Just really making sure that I'm lining up perfectly. And I'm just squeezing, and I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to touch this for 20 minutes to open it. Okay, so I'm just going to let that there, put that to the side. But we did it, y'all. We are here. We are here. We finished the Trapper Keeper. Again, no need to laminate. It's just something that I did. You don't have to. You can just do regular folders. Make sure when you attach these clips and the mechanisms in the middle that it's not wiggly or your screw isn't just still screwing. If it's still screwing, it's not caught. It's not enough to keep it catching. So you got to add something in between, that buffering, to make sure. Specifically this clip, I think. Right? That's it. Mini Trapper Keepers. Again, making in all different sizes. I did an even smaller one. This reminds me kind of like an address book when we were kids, you know, like an 80s Rolodex, not a Rolodex, but like a flip through address book. So there you go. I hope we did it. Another long hour. Hit me up if you have any questions. I'm exhausted now. And, yeah, I got some finishing to do here with these. Happy crafting, y'all. This was so fun. Good luck, Jen. Good luck, Angie. Anyone who's out here trying to make these. You know, intermediate. Again, not as hard as you think. Just a little more slowed down. A little more precise with your cutting and your gluing and your measuring. But beyond that, it's endless, the possibilities of what you can do to make and design for these. So, happy crafting, y'all.